Rain glistened on the marble steps of Al-Rahim Manor, each drop slicing through the night like glass. A convoy of black SUVs lined the circular driveway, red and blue lights flashing across the golden gate engraved with the Al-Rahim family crest. Honor is silent strength. In the center of it all, 2 police officers were forcing a woman face first against one of the vehicles. Her wrists were cuffed tight, her wet hair clinging to her skin. She didn't resist, not out of fear, but because she didn't have to. "You have no idea what you're doing," she said quietly, her voice steady despite the chaos. The younger cop sneered, tugging her shoulder. "Yeah? Then enlighten me, lady. You're trespassing on a restricted estate. Keep talking and I'll make sure your night gets a lot worse." The older officer frowned, uneasy. "Sir, she said she was invited. Maybe we should—" "She lied, Davis. This is private arabbillionaire territory. People like her don't get invites here." The woman lifted her head just enough to meet his eyes, her stare sharp, unyielding. "People like me built the walls you're guarding." Silence. Then a mocking laugh. "Sure, ma'am. And I'm the King of England." She was drenched, shivering slightly, but her tone stayed measured, military in its calm precision. "My name is Serena Kale, retired Lieutenant General, U.S. Strategic Command. You have about 30 seconds to let me go before this becomes an international incident." The cop froze mid-grin. "You're what?" 25 seconds, she said evenly, eyes flicking toward his badge. "Corporal Hensley, right? You'll want to remember that name when your phone starts ringing." The younger cop hesitated, but pride won over instinct. "Lady, I don't care who you say you are. You're in cuffs, and that's how you're staying." He shoved her back against the hood, harder this time. She didn't cry out. She simply inhaled once, deeply, and said, "You just made the last mistake of your career." Inside the manor, the butler, an older man in a crisp black suit, watched the scene unfold on the security monitor. His hand trembled as he dialed a number on the gold-trimmed landline. "Sir, you'll want to see this. The police have just handcuffed her." A deep voice answered from the other end, calm but cutting. "Her? As in General Kyle?" The butler swallowed hard. "Yes, Sheikh. I'm afraid so." For a long moment there was silence, then a soft sound of disbelief, followed by a single word that carried enough command to make the air feel colder. "Patch me through to the Pentagon." The camera of imagination cuts back to the driveway. Serena Kyle standing between 2 armed officers, her reflection flashing across the rain-soaked hood. Her eyes, calm as a storm before lightning, flickered toward the gates as they began to open on their own. The roar of an incoming motorcade shattered the night silence, and from within those golden gates emerged Sheikh Malik Al-Rahim, the Arab billionaire whose call could move governments and freeze borders. The moment he stepped into the floodlights, both officers stiffened instinctively. Malik's tailored charcoal coat flowed with the wind, his expression unreadable. He looked at the woman, then at the cuffs, and for the first time in their careers, the cops realized they weren't the ones in charge anymore. The manor floodlights washed the driveway in golden shadow. Sheikh Malik Al-Rahim strode forward, his face carved in restrained fury. Even the rain seemed to hesitate as he approached. As if the air itself knew it owed him silence, the younger cop straightened, trying to mask his unease. "Sir, this area's off limits. We had a trespasser." Malik cut him off with a glance so sharp it felt like a blade. "You put handcuffs on a decorated American general on my property." The words landed like a thunderclap. Serena lifted her eyes toward him, her composure steady. "I told them, Malik. They didn't believe me." He stepped closer, studying her for the first time, not with shock but with something more complicated: guilt, memory, a history they both carried but never spoke of. The older cop, Davis, looked pale. "Sir, we were following procedure." "Procedure?" Malik's voice deepened. "Your procedure is to assault invited guests? Or to humiliate women of rank because you think their skin color writes their story?" Neither man answered. Malik pulled a sleek, encrypted phone from his coat pocket. His thumb hovered over a contact marked only with 3 letters. "Dud." She pressed it. "Get Defense Command. Connect me with Defense Command. Immediate priority." The younger officer blinked, disbelief breaking through his arrogance. "Who exactly are you calling?" "The people who sign your funding," Malik said without looking up. Ben, a crisp static buzzed. Then a crisp female voice answered through the speaker. "Ben to be our end. Pentagon line, authentication verified. Go ahead, Sheikh Al-Raif." It turned the speaker toward the officers. "I have 2 of your country's officers detaining General Serena Kyle outside my home. She was here on my invitation, regarding a security contract between my firm and your defense division. You will handle this now." Then was a pause, then a voice, lower, older, unmistakably high rank. "It be Arish. General Kyle, she's alive?" "She's in cuffs," Malik replied icily. "And unless I see those cuffs removed within 5 seconds, you'll have an international complaint that'll echo through your entire department." A burby arter. The older officer fumbled for his keys, unlocking the restraints with shaking hands. "Ma'am, I'm sorry." Serena flexed her wrists slowly, the faint marks red against her skin. She didn't look at them. She looked at Malik. "You didn't have to do that," she said softly. "No," Malik answered. "But I owed you that much." The line still hung open. A Pentagon voice spoke again. Urgent. "General KL, please confirm your status." She lifted the phone to her ear, her tone firm and controlled. "This is Lieutenant General Serena KL, retired. Situation under control. But if this is how you treat your allies, consider our next war already lost." The line went dead. The silence that followed was unbearable. Only the sound of rain filled the space where pride had just died. Malik turned to the officers. "Leave, now, before I have the embassy. Draft your exit orders." They didn't argue. They got into their car and sped into the night, the blue lights fading down the hill. When they were gone, Serena looked toward the mansion's tall windows, lights still flickering from inside. "You still live like a man who hasn't stopped fighting," she said. Malik's lips curved faintly. "And you still talk like a soldier who doesn't know she's tired." For a long moment they stood there, 2 people carved by war, silence, and power, until he finally gestured toward the door. "Come inside. There's more at stake tonight than their arrogance." She hesitated, then nodded. The gates closed behind them with a soft metallic sigh. The world outside would never know what truly began that night, when a billionaire and a forgotten general stepped back into each other's war. Inside Sheikh Malik Al-Raif's estate, marble floors gleamed beneath chandeliers shaped like galaxies, silent witnesses to a night history itself had forgotten. Serena walked behind him, her boots clicking softly. The warmth of the house contrasted the cold humiliation she'd faced outside. The scent of oud and cedar filled the air. Malik gestured toward the grand salon, walls lined with war relics, framed commendations, and a faded photograph of soldiers in desert camouflage. She stopped in front of it, her breath caught. "That photo," she whispered. "It was from Operation Eclipse, 12 years ago. A Black Ops mission that had officially never happened." Serena stood in that picture, her arm in a sling, dust streaking her face. Beside her stood Malik, not yet a sheik, but a covert intelligence liaison for the Allied coalition. "You kept it?" she said softly. Malik's gaze lingered on the frame. "You were the only one who didn't lie about what happened that night. We weren't supposed to tell the truth," Serena replied. "Command buried Eclipse under 5 layers of clearance. Everyone who spoke disappeared." Malik nodded, jaw tightening. "And yet you came here tonight." Serena turned, meeting his eyes. "Because they're rewriting it again, Malik. Someone's erasing us from history. The report's been leaked, and in the new version, you were listed as a rogue operative who sold intel to insurgents." His expression didn't change, but the air grew heavier. "That's impossible," he said quietly. "Not impossible. Deliberate." She stepped closer. "Someone high up wants you discredited before you finalize the joint cyber defense contract with the Pentagon. If you sign, it exposes every off-the-record operation they've run since Eclipse. They can't allow that." Malik's hands clasped behind his back. "So they send you to warn me?" Serena hesitated. "Not exactly. I came because I was ordered to make sure you don't attend the summit tomorrow. But when I saw your name on the briefing file, I knew it wasn't a mission. It was an execution order." The silence between them felt like static before an explosion. "They expect me to kill you, Malik," she said finally. For a heartbeat he said nothing, Then softly, "And will you?" Serena exhaled. "I've killed for orders before, but not this time." Malik turned away, walking toward the tall windows that overlooked the city. "Then you've just declared war against your own government. And you?" she asked. "You think you're untouchable behind your billions and titles? They'll come for you next." He smiled faintly, a dangerous calm in his voice. "Let them come. I didn't build an empire by bowing to generals who hide behind paper wars." Serena stepped closer. "This isn't about empire, Malik. It's about truth. The truth of what we did, and the civilians who died because of it." Malik's jaw clenched. "Don't lecture me about guilt, General. You carried the detonator that night." The words hit her like a punch. Her face paled. "You think I don't remember?" he continued, voice low. "I watched you press the trigger when command said the village was clear. It wasn't," Serena's eyes shimmered. "It wasn't my call. I followed orders. And they've been using that obedience ever since," Malik said. She looked down, voice breaking for the first time. "That's why I came here. Not to warn you, not to kill you, but to make it right." Malik turned, confused. "Make what right?" She reached into her jacket, slowly pulling out a sealed data drive. The metallic casing bore the insignia of the Joint Command Intelligence Bureau. "This holds the full Eclipse archive, the real one. Every classified transmission, every kill order, every signature. It proves who gave the command that night." Malik's breath caught. "You stole this?" "I retrieved what was mine," she said, "but I can't decrypt it. The key is yours. You designed the original encryption." Now it was Malik's turn to look haunted. He walked to his desk, opened a hidden compartment, and withdrew an old tactical tablet with an engraved symbol, a crescent and an eagle. He inserted the drive. The tablet hummed, lights flickering as old ghosts woke up. The first file opened with a grainy timestamp, classified, Operation Eclipse, Command Transmission 47th. A familiar voice filled the room, smooth, commanding, American, execute full strike. Civilian status irrelevant. This comes from the top, Admiral R. Halloran. Serena froze, her lips parted in disbelief. Halloran. He's the one who promoted me. He's the one who covered the investigation. Malik leaned forward. He's also the man leading tomorrow's summit. The realization sank between them, heavy and irreversible. "They're not just erasing us," Serena whispered. "They're erasing the truth before the world hears it." Malik looked at her, not as a soldier or a general, but as an ally fate had returned to him. "Then we don't let them." Serena straightened, resolve replacing fear. "What are you suggesting?" Malik's voice hardened. "We attend that summit, together, and when the world's eyes are on him, we show them everything." Serena hesitated only a second before nodding. "Then we better move fast, because after tonight every agency on this continent will know we're alive." The tablet screen flickered again, displaying coordinates. Malik looked up. "They already do." The city of Doha glimmered beneath the desert moon, its skyline carved from glass and gold. But under the glimmer, danger pulsed like a live wire. Inside Malik Al-Rahim's armored Maybach, Serena sat beside him in silence. Her uniform was gone, replaced with a black utility jacket and a headscarf that did little to hide her presence. The air between them was charged, not with attraction but survival. Malik glanced at the rearview mirror, his eyes narrowing. "They're tailing us." Serena didn't turn. "How many?" "3 cars. No headlights. Staggered formation. Classic shadow escort." She reached for the holster beneath her coat, checking the Glock 19's magazine. "They'll try to take us alive. They need the drive." Malik smirked faintly. "Then let's disappoint them." He pressed a small button under the dashboard. The car's internal system chirped, defense mode engaged, the windows tinted black and the hum of reinforced plating slid into place. Seconds later, headlights flared behind them. A black SUV swerved, trying to cut them off. Another followed, blocking the rear lane. "They're bracketing us," Serena shouted. Malik twisted the wheel sharply, sending the Maybach onto a side road lined with shipping containers. Tires screeched. Serena braced herself as bullets cracked against the reinforced glass. Malik muttered. You always did attract chaos. Only when I'm babysitting billionaires. The SUV rammed them again, this time harder. Serena turned, window down halfway, and fired 3 controlled shots. The last bullet struck the driver's tire. The SUV spun out, slamming into a container with a metallic roar. The second car accelerated, closing in. Malik hit the emergency release. The back bumper dropped a strip of carbon nails. The pursuing car veered, shredding its tires, sparks flying. Silence fell again, except for their racing breaths. We can't go back to the estate, Serena said. They'll have men crawling all over it. Malik nodded. We won't. There's a safe house north of Lusail, belonged to an old friend. Serena looked skeptical. Old friend or old enemy? Malik's lips curved slightly. Depends who's asking. Hours later, they arrived at a coastal compound, a weathered villa half buried in sand. The walls were cracked, the courtyard littered with tools. Malik parked and killed the engine. As they stepped out, motion lights flickered on. A tall man appeared at the entrance, his face lined, beard silvered with age. His right arm was a prosthetic, metallic and scarred. You shouldn't have come here, Malik, he said, voice rough like gravel. Good to see you too, Idran, Malik replied evenly. Serena studied the man. Former military? Former everything, Idran said. Who's the soldier? Serena Vale, she said. U.S. Army General. His brow rose. And you brought her here? You've lost your mind. We're running out of places that aren't already compromised, Malik said. We need your signal jammer, Idran. And your tracker sweeper. Idran hesitated, then stepped aside. Come in. Inside the villa was a blend of survivalist tech and desert relics. Half command center, half tomb. Idran powered on a monitor, scanning Malik and Serena's devices. You've got at least 2 bugs on you, he muttered. Satellite pings. One embedded in the drive casing, another in her wristwatch. Serena yanked the watch off and crushed it under her boot. They're tracking the drive then. Of course they are, Idran said. You stole from the Joint Command. That thing's a beacon. Malik looked to Serena. We can't decrypt the files here, not while it's broadcasting. Then we isolate it, Idran said, grabbing a lead-lined box from the counter. Put it in here. Signal dead. Serena placed the drive inside. The room instantly went quiet. No hum, no static. Malik exhaled. Thank you. Don't thank me yet, Idran said. You've dragged the storm to my doorstep. If Halloran finds out I'm helping you, Serena interrupted. He already knows. Idran froze. What? She tossed a small USB across the table. Before I left Washington, I intercepted a transmission. Halloran's unit has a kill order labeled Ghost Protocol. It's meant for 3 targets, Malik Al-Rahim, Serena Vale, and Idran Qad. The color drained from Idran's face. Then they've reactivated the protocol, he said softly. It means they're not cleaning up evidence. They're erasing people. We still have a window, Malik said. The summit begins in less than 24 hours. If we upload the Eclipse files during Halloran's keynote, the truth goes global before they can stop it. Serena looked up. Then we do it. But we'll need clearance into the central comms hub. That's in the airbase perimeter, Idran said grimly. You'll never get in without credentials. Serena met his eyes. Then I'll use mine. You were discharged. I'm still General Vale in their system. Halloran made sure of that. His mistake, Malik smirked. You really haven't changed. You either, she shot back. For the first time, Idran smiled faintly. You two are either going to save the world or blow it up. Malik's tone was steady. We'll let history decide. Outside, the wind howled over the dunes, carrying sand like whispers of the dead. Deep inside the villa, Serena's old credentials began reactivation, glowing faintly on a secured terminal, and far away, in a high-rise office in Washington, D.C., Admiral Halloran watched a satellite feed of the desert villa flicker onto his screen. He turned to his aide. Seal the airspace over Qatar. They think they're ghosts? He smiled coldly. Then we'll bury them like one. The desert night was alive with movement. Spotlights sweeping the perimeter, drones humming in the distance, soldiers' boots pressing into the sand with military precision. From the North Ridge, Serena Vale crouched low, her black tactical gear blending into the dunes. Beside her, Malik Al-Rahim adjusted the miniature drone controller strapped to his wrist. Idrin's voice crackled through the earpiece. Visual confirmed. 2 entry points, West Maintenance Bay and the fuel hangar. West has less heat signatures but more security cams. You have a 6-minute blind window before the next patrol cycle. Serena exhaled slowly. 6 minutes is enough. Malik's gaze stayed fixed on the airbase below. A sprawling fortress of hangars, runways, and towers, glowing like an electric spiderweb in the night. This place hasn't changed much since I funded half its expansion. You funded this? Serena asked, incredulous. The contract was for humanitarian airlift operations. Halloran turned it into a command center. I guess generosity has its limits. She smirked. You've got a habit of paying for your own problems. And you've got a habit of solving them with bullets. The drone's camera zoomed in. Thermal outlines of guards, trucks, and flight techs. One hangar door stood slightly ajar. Serena nodded. That's our entry. They moved fast and low, cutting through the desert's cool air. Every sound mattered, every step calibrated. Serena's mind ran through years of tactical training, every scar reminding her that silence was her most trusted weapon. Inside the hangar, the hum of machines filled the space. A half-disassembled fighter jet sat on the platform, cables coiled like snakes. Monitors glowed faint blue, reflecting off metal walls. Malik slipped beside her, retrieving a small device, signal extractor. Once we plug in the Eclipse drive, it'll route the files to Idrin's satellite link. He'll broadcast them live. Serena nodded, scanning the area. Let's make it quick. She set the drive down, connecting the cable. The extractor began to hum softly, decrypting, transmitting, exposing. Then, footsteps echoed from the shadows. Both froze. A single flashlight beam cut through the hangar, revealing a tall man in military fatigues. His presence radiated authority and danger. You shouldn't be here, Serena. She turned, her hand instinctively moving toward her sidearm. Her breath caught in her chest. Major Kellen Drake. He stepped closer, face grim yet almost regretful. You always did pick the worst battles. Malik's tone sharpened. Friend of yours? Former unit, Serena said, eyes locked on Drake. We trained together, and now you're breaking into classified installations with a billionaire fugitive, he replied. Tell me why I shouldn't report you right now. Serena's jaw tightened. Because Halloran's lying to you. This isn't treason, it's cleanup. He's silencing anyone who knows what Eclipse really is. Drake's expression didn't change. You're talking about national defense. I'm talking about genocide data buried under your flag. For a moment, silence. The extractor's quiet hum filled the air between them. Then Drake sighed. You don't get it, do you? I am the cleanup. Malik's eyes flicked toward the monitor. Transmission 67%. Almost done. Serena drew her weapon. Kellen, don't make me... But before she could finish, another voice cut in. Calm, cold, unmistakable. Too late for that, General. The hangar lights flared on. Dozens of soldiers appeared from the shadows, rifles raised. In the center, walking with military precision, was Admiral Halloran himself, his medals gleaming like scars. Serena froze. Malik's hand hovered near the drive, unsure whether to pull or run. Halloran smiled thinly. You really thought you could outmaneuver the Pentagon, General Vale? You, a disgraced soldier and an Arab businessman with a savior complex? You killed innocent operatives, Serena snapped. You buried missions that never existed. I buried mistakes, Halloran replied. People like you. Emotional liabilities who confuse mercy for justice. The soldiers closed in. Halloran's gaze turned to Malik. And you, Mr. Al-Rahim, what did you think you'd achieve? Redemption? You'll die before your money reaches the next wire transfer. Malik's voice was calm, almost amused. I don't need money for what's coming. And what's that? Halloran sneered. Malik smiled. The truth. At that moment the extractor beeped. Transmission complete. Halloran's smirk faltered. He turned sharply toward his comms officer. Stop that signal, now. But it was too late. The monitors across the hangar flickered, showing live feeds, government memos, classified test results, drone footage of civilian targets. The Eclipse files had gone global. Halloran's fury turned to ice. Kill them. Gunfire erupted. Serena dove behind the fighter jet, returning fire. Malik rolled behind a console, bullets sparking off metal. Smoke filled the air. The hangar became a war zone. Serena's pulse thundered. She spotted Drake hesitating, his rifle lowered, his expression torn. "Drake," she shouted, "help us end this." He hesitated, then aimed, not at her, but at Halloran. "This ends tonight." The Admiral turned, eyes wide. "You fool!" Drake fired. Halloran went down. Chaos exploded. Soldiers confused, orders shattered. Serena grabbed the drive, Malik grabbed her arm, and together they ran through the back exit, gunfire chasing them into the open desert. Behind them, the hangar burned, the sky glowing orange like judgment. The desert before dawn was a haunting sight, endless gold fading into black, where silence felt heavier than sound. Serena Vale stumbled through the sand, her boots dragging, adrenaline fading into exhaustion. Behind her, Malik Al-Rahim followed with the small black drive clutched to his chest. Smoke from the destroyed airbase still rose behind them, curling into the cold night air like a dying serpent. "We can't keep running forever," Serena said, panting. "We won't," Malik replied. "They think we're dead. That buys us time." She turned sharply. "Until the satellites pick up our heat signatures, they'll send drones next." Malik smiled faintly, the corners of his mouth trembling with fatigue. "Then we need to disappear, before the world starts looking." They reached the ridge where Idrin's old pickup was buried beneath a camouflage tarp. Malik tore it free, climbed in, and turned the ignition. The engine coughed once, then roared to life. "Where are we headed?" Serena asked, throwing her bag in the back seat. "South. The dunes beyond Okan. There's an old Bedouin outpost. My mother used to trade there before the oil fields swallowed the horizon." Serena raised an eyebrow. "And what exactly are we trading?" He looked at her, his eyes hollow, steady. "Our names." Hours passed in silence, the horizon shifting from black to blood orange. The drive sat between them on the dashboard, glowing faintly with its own quiet purpose. Serena kept her gaze forward, but her mind was a storm. "You knew this would happen," she said finally. "You planned for it." "I hoped for it," Malik said. "Every empire rots from within. I just gave the world the match." She studied him. The stoic billionaire turned reluctant whistleblower. "You risked your fortune, your life. For what?" He smiled without looking at her. "Truth has no currency, General, but it does have interest." Before she could respond, a soft beep echoed from the dashboard, an alert on Idrin's frequency. Malik's expression hardened. He turned the dial, static, crackling through the old comms unit. "Repeat, transmission global, trending." Halloran confirmed dead. The signal cut briefly. Then came a clearer voice, filtered but human, to whoever sent the Eclipse files. "The world owes you, but they're hunting you, both of you." Serena's heart clenched. "They know it's us." "No," Malik said. "They think it's us." He opened the glove compartment, revealing 2 sealed passports, digital chips, and a satellite phone. "I had Idrin prepare these in case things went wrong." Serena smirked. "You think of everything. That's why I'm still breathing." They drove until the sun reached its cruelest height. When the engine finally died near the dunes, the two sat in silence, staring at the mirage of heat rising from the sands. "We're ghosts now," Serena said softly. Malik's gaze followed the horizon. Ghosts with a message. By the next morning, the world had changed. News broadcasts across continents flashed with footage from the Eclipse leak, blurred documents, encrypted voice recordings, and proof of covert operations under the banner of global defense. Protests erupted from Washington to Dubai. Governments denied. Agencies panicked, but one image dominated every feed. A silhouette of 2 fugitives walking through the desert, the woman's posture straight, the man's head bowed. Reporters called them the Truth Keepers. Days later, Serena awoke in the Bedouin outpost, a small settlement of stone and canvas hidden deep in the dunes. Malik was outside, speaking quietly with an old tribesman. When she stepped out, the sun hit her face like fire. Malik turned to her, eyes softer than she'd seen before. "They're offering shelter," he said. "For now. You trust them?" "They don't trust anyone," Malik replied. "That's why we'll be safe." Serena looked at him for a long moment. "You've lost everything. He smiled faintly. Not everything. What's left? He looked at her. Really looked, and for the first time his mask cracked, a chance to start again. Before she could answer, Idrin's voice broke through on the satellite phone. "They've declared you international fugitives," he said. "Interpol, US, MI6, everyone's in the game now. But something else, someone's helping you." Serena frowned. "Who?" "The Pentagon's new acting head. She's leaked a statement saying your mission exposed a truth the world was not ready to face. She's not denying the Eclipse program. She's validating it." Malik's expression darkened. "They're turning it into propaganda. They're rewriting the narrative," Serena muttered. "From justice to justification." "Then we write our own," Malik said quietly. She nodded. "The second drop?" He smiled grimly. "The second and final one. The part Halloran never found." He opened his tablet. Encrypted folders glowed across the screen. Serena's pulse quickened as she saw what it contained. Unedited satellite feeds, black site coordinates, and lists of operatives marked erased. "You were keeping this?" "I was saving it," Malik said. "For when the world stopped believing the first one." That night, under a sky carved with stars, Serena and Malik sat near the fire. "Do you ever think we'll stop running?" she asked. He stared into the flames. "Maybe not. But if we keep moving, they'll keep chasing the truth instead of us." She smiled faintly. "That's poetic. That's exhaustion." They both laughed quietly, their voices carried away by the wind. And somewhere, deep in the desert, a signal began to pulse. The second leak uploading, line by line. The desert night was windless, a silence too perfect to trust. The campfire had burned to embers, its orange glow flickering against the outlines of Malik and Serena's faces. The satellite uplink blinked green once, twice, then froze. Transmission interrupted. Serena frowned. "That's not right. We're on an independent frequency. No one should be able to." A single beep echoed. "Incoming transmission. Priority. Omega." Malik leaned closer, the reflection of the device lighting his eyes. The screen flashed with a familiar seal. The United States Department of Defense. A woman's voice came through, calm and cool as ice water. "Dr. Layla Reeves speaking, Acting Secretary of Defense." Serena froze. "Reeves? She's the one who replaced Halloran." "General Vale," the voice continued. "Mr. Al-Raif, I assume you can hear me?" Malik's jaw tightened. "We can. You're tracing this, aren't you?" "Already did," Reeves said softly. "But don't worry, I'm not here to capture you. I'm here to save you." Serena scoffed. "Save us? You called us enemies of the state an hour ago." "That's politics, General. Publicly, I must condemn you. Privately, I want what you have. The second Eclipse file. Hand it over, and I'll ensure both your names are cleared. You'll be ghosts again. Clean ones." Malik's eyes narrowed. "You want to erase the truth, not protect it." "I want to preserve the order that truth will destroy," Reeves replied. "You've already destabilized half the intelligence network. People are dying in riots. Nations are threatening war. If the second drop goes live, we lose control of everything." Serena's voice sharpened. "Good. Maybe control isn't what the world needs. Idealism," Reeves said with quiet disdain. "The disease of soldiers who think justice is a personal mission. You should have stayed retired, Vale." Malik disconnected the transmission mid-sentence. The silence returned, thicker now. Serena looked at him. "She'll send teams. We've been marked." "Then we don't run," Malik said calmly. "We finish what we started." By sunrise, the desert was alive again. Radio chatter, drones sweeping overhead, convoys slicing through the dunes. Reeves had unleashed a containment unit, a private task force built for deniable missions. Serena and Malik moved quickly, breaking camp. Idrin's coordinates flashed on their device. Northern Gulf, Coastal Ridge Safe Zone. They drove through rising heat, sand spraying behind them like smoke. "You think Idrin can still help us?" Serena asked. "He's the only one who hasn't tried to sell us," Malik said. They reached the ridge hours later. The air smelled of salt, the desert giving way to the sea. But the villa that once served as their refuge was now a ruin. Doors blown off, smoke curling from inside, the air heavy with the scent of scorched metal. Serena jumped out of the vehicle, heart pounding. "Idron!" she shouted. Her voice echoed into emptiness. Then from inside a faint groan. They ran in and found Idran, bloodied, slumped against the wall. His right prosthetic hand sparked faintly. Malik knelt beside him. What happened? Idran coughed, his voice ragged. They came at dawn. Not soldiers. Drones. Black models. Us signature. They didn't want information. They wanted ashes. Who gave us away? Serena asked quietly. Idran looked up, his eyes dimming. Someone from inside. Someone who knew your calm frequency. Only 3 people had that. He trailed off. Malik froze. Who? Idran looked at him and whispered, Me. Serena's breath caught. They caught me, Vale. Last week. Made me choose between dying fast or dying useful. I thought I could play both sides, feed them just enough to keep you safe. His voice cracked. But Reeves doesn't bargain. She eliminates. Serena knelt beside him, gripping his hand. We can still fix this. No, Idran said, blood on his lips. You have to finish the upload. Don't make my mistake. Don't trust the saviors. His last breath trembled out, and the room fell into the kind of silence that screams. Malik stood, his face unreadable. He betrayed us to protect us. Serena looked at the flickering remnants of the uplink, and now we have nothing left to lose. That night, they sat by the sea, the waves black under a ghost moon. Malik stared at the stars, then spoke quietly. Do you believe we can actually win? No, Serena said honestly, but I believe we can't let them win either. Malik looked at her, really looked, and something fragile passed between them. Then let's burn the last bridge. He opened his wrist device, inserted the drive and tapped upload all. The screen flashed. Warning. Upload will trigger trace. Proceed? Serena placed her hand over his. Let them trace. Let them see. He pressed confirm. A world away. In Washington, D.C., alarms blared across the Pentagon's secure networks. Screens lit up with cascading code. Reeves stepped into the war room, her face pale. What the hell is that? An officer stammered. They've activated the full Eclipse archive. Unredacted. Every nation, every file. Her composure cracked. Find them. Now. In the desert, Malik and Serena watched the horizon shimmer. The uplink burned hot in Malik's hand, light pulsing brighter, faster. It's done, he said softly. No, Serena whispered. It's only begun. Above them, 2 faint streaks of light tore through the night, missiles cutting through the sky. Malik smiled, his voice steady. We lit the match, and then the world turned white. When the world turned white, it wasn't just the sand that vanished, it was time itself. The explosion swallowed everything, shredding the horizon into a soundless storm of heat and dust. When Serena Vale opened her eyes, she wasn't sure if she was alive or caught in some purgatory. Everything was muted, the waves were gone, the stars erased. Her ears rang with a high-pitched whine that seemed to come from inside her bones. She turned her head and saw only ash where Malik had been. His seat beside the fire was scorched black. Her throat tightened. No, Malik. She staggered forward, her boots sinking into the wet sand. The uplink, half melted, its light still blinking, lay nearby. A single message flashed across its broken display, upload complete, 100%. Tears mixed with soot on her face. You did it, she whispered. You crazy, brilliant man. You did it. Behind her, distant lights streaked across the sky, drones sweeping the coastline. She had maybe 10 minutes before they found what was left. She grabbed Malik's dog tags, slung them around her neck, and ran into the darkness. 2 days later, the world erupted. The Eclipse archive had gone public, not through one channel but everywhere. Every newsroom, every private feed, every shadow network, all flooded with files exposing decades of covert manipulation. Black site prisons under hospitals, secret oil treaties, fake wars staged to protect stock markets, names of presidents, generals, oil tycoons, all exposed. And amid the chaos, one face dominated the news: Malik Al-Rahim, the man who broke the chain. He was called a traitor by some, a prophet by others. But no one knew he was gone, because somewhere, in a broken coastal town across the Atlantic, Serena Vale, bloodied, bandaged, and alive, watched the chaos unfold from a flickering diner TV. The anchor's voice trembled. The Pentagon refuses to comment on reports that Al-Raif's co-conspirator, former General Serena Vale, is still alive. Authorities have issued a global capture order. Serena smiled bitterly. So they're calling me a ghost now. The waitress, an old woman with kind eyes, set down her coffee. You look like someone who's lost too much sleep, Serena replied quietly. I lost more than that. 3 hours later, her burner phone buzzed once. A message from an unknown number. He's not dead. Coordinates attached. 52 degree, 4 degree. Serena froze. That was Ireland. The coastal cliffs. Her heart hammered. Could Malik have survived? She packed her bag, paid in cash, and left through the back door. 4 days later, Western Ireland. Winds howled along the cliffs as Serena climbed the jagged rocks. The coordinates led her to an abandoned lighthouse. Its glass shattered, its beacon long dead. Inside, the air was cold, the walls lined with old radio gear. And then, a voice. I told you not to look back. Serena spun around. Her breath caught. There he was, Malik, alive, scarred, limping, but standing. She took a step forward. You were gone. I saw the blast. Malik smiled faintly. Drones hit early. The uplink drew their fire. I made it into the tunnels. Barely. She punched him, lightly, tears streaming. You idiot, I thought. He caught her fist, his eyes soft. I know. They stood there in silence for a long time, the storm raging outside. The world thinks you're a martyr, Serena said finally. They think I killed you. Good, Malik said. Let them believe the story they need. And what about you? I'll stay dead. Dead men can move freely. She looked at him, the man who'd burned the truth into history and walked out of his own ashes. And me? You're the one they'll chase, he said. The one who keeps the story alive. Serena nodded slowly. Then we both have our roles. 3 weeks later, the world was in turmoil. Governments fell, corporations crumbled, whistleblowers surfaced everywhere, inspired by the Eclipse files. In a dark hotel room in Geneva, Serena broadcast her first message under a new alias, Echo One. Her voice, modulated and calm, filled the encrypted channels of thousands of hidden listeners. You cannot erase what's been revealed. You cannot silence every truth. Malik Al-Raif lit the match. But we are the fire. And in a hidden base under the cliffs of Ireland, Malik listened, his faint smile returning as the world began to burn and rebuild. She learned well, he murmured. He lifted his head, staring at the sea. This time, he didn't salute anyone. He simply whispered to the wind, truth always outlives its keepers. 6 months later, the world was unrecognizable. The media called it the Age of Reckoning. The Eclipse files had ignited a global wave of accountability. Politicians resigning mid-broadcasts, billionaires vanishing to private islands, and secret agencies disbanding overnight. But in the shadows of this revolution, one name had become both a symbol and a threat, Echo Division, and leading them, hidden behind a scrambled voice and a mirrored mask, was Serena Vale. The scene opened in a dim warehouse outside Prague. Walls lined with cables, glowing monitors, and the hum of encrypted transmitters. The air buzzed with tension as Serena, her posture rigid, stared at the live feed on the main screen. Target confirmed, said a voice through her earpiece. Juno, her youngest operative, Arabian Consortium, meeting at midnight, Dubai. Same names that funded the control networks Malik exposed. Serena's jaw clenched. Then tonight, we remind them, truth has no borders. She turned to her small team, 6 people from 6 nations, each marked by loss, exile, or betrayal. They weren't soldiers. They were survivors. Once this file goes live, Serena said quietly, we'll be hunted in every time zone. So if anyone wants out, save it, interrupted Dr. Nick Serra, the group's cyber strategist. We didn't come this far to run. Serena's eyes softened for a moment. Then may the fire guide us. Meanwhile, Dubai, 2:14 a.m. A convoy of black SUVs pulled up outside the Al-Haytham Tower, home to one of the Arab world's most powerful billionaire councils. Inside the glass penthouse, a dozen men in tailored suits watched as the city shimmered beneath them, wealth glittering like stars. At the head of the table sat Sheikh Idran Al-Haytham, Malik's former mentor, and now the shadow architect of a new digital empire. "The eclipse is over," Idran said, swirling his glass of whiskey. "The world's chaos will make us kings again." Another man laughed. "And the woman, the ghost called Echo? She will vanish soon enough. Every voice fades when the signal is cut." They laughed, unaware that every word was being recorded, that Serena's operatives had hijacked the building's internal comms 30 minutes ago. Back in Prague, Serena leaned forward, her face bathed in the glow of live feeds. "We have the confession," Juno said, her fingers flying across the keyboard. "Uploading in 3, 2... The screens blinked. Transmission froze, then static. A black window appeared across all monitors, followed by a single line of text. "Hello, Serena." Her stomach dropped. She knew that code. The syntax, the pattern of spacing, it was Malik's. "That's impossible," Nick said, scanning. "He's dead," Serena whispered. "He was..." Then came another line. "You burn too hot. You'll destroy what we built." The signal cut out. Serena's hands trembled. "Trace it. Already trying," Nick said. "But he's bouncing through military satellites. It's like he's everywhere." Serena backed away from the screen, her heart pounding. Could Malik have betrayed her, or was someone pretending to be him? Her memories flashed to blast the lighthouse's scarred face, the warmth in his voice when he said, "Truth always outlives its keepers." Now she wasn't sure if he meant it as faith or a warning. 2 nights later, a private plane left Ireland under a false manifest. On board, Malik Al-Rahim, very much alive. His hair had turned gray at the edges, his movements slower, but his eyes still burned with that same merciless intelligence. Across from him sat a woman in a black suit, Minister Farah Al-Damir, head of a secret restoration project. "You were never supposed to return," she said quietly. "Neither was the truth," Malik replied. "Your Echo is playing with fire. She's doing what I taught her. She's destabilizing nations." Malik leaned back, his tone calm but deadly. "Good. That's how old worlds end." Farah studied him. "And what happens when she learns you never died?" A faint smile crossed his face. "Then she'll stop following and start fighting me." Prague. 1 week later, Serena's network was collapsing. Their safe houses were compromised, their servers erased by a precision strike that carried the same encryption Malik once used for counter-cyber ops. "It's him," Juno said, voice shaking. "He's dismantling us piece by piece." Serena stared at the floor. "No, he's testing me." She turned to Nix. "Rebuild our line. If he wants a war of ghosts, we'll give him one." Her team exchanged nervous glances. "Serena, are we sure we're still the good guys?" Nix asked softly. Serena's voice cracked, calm but cold. "Good died with Malik. Now it's just truth, and who survives it?" In Ireland, Malik stood before the sea again. Hands in his coat pockets, a young man approached. His new operative. "Sir, Echo Division's still alive. They're broadcasting from somewhere in Eastern Europe." Malik nodded slowly. "Good." The operative frowned. "Good?" Malik looked toward the horizon. "Because truth needs enemies to stay alive. She's doing exactly what the world needs her to." Rain hammered against the shattered glass windows of an abandoned data tower in Montenegro. Lightning split the sky in white flashes, reflecting off the drenched floor where cables snaked like veins. Serena Vale stood in the center of it, soaked, trembling, her hand pressed to the bleeding cut on her shoulder. Her headset crackled with static. Juno's voice faded in and out. "Serena, we're surrounded. Military drones. They've got visual. Get out while you can." "No," she whispered. "Not yet." She dragged a metal chair to the console, sat down, and began typing furiously. The uplink to the global relay was half dead, but she had one last chance to send the truth. And then she heard footsteps, slow, purposeful, familiar. She didn't turn around, not until she heard the voice. "You always did pick dramatic weather." Serena froze. Her hands stopped mid-typing. She turned, and there he was. Malik Al-Rahim, older, leaner, but alive, and carrying the same quiet authority that once could move armies. For a moment neither spoke. The rain filled the silence between them. "You were supposed to be gone," Serena said quietly. "And you were supposed to stop," Malik replied. "But you didn't." He took a few steps closer, his boots echoing on the wet metal. "You've torn apart governments. Do you even know how many lives, how many lies?" Serena interrupted sharply. "Because those numbers are higher." Malik sighed, lowering his eyes. "You're becoming what we fought against. Reckless, uncontrolled. You taught me that truth should never bow." She shot back. "So why are you here? To control it?" Malik's expression darkened. "To protect it." She turned back to the console. "It's too late. The final files are ready. You can't release them," Malik said. "Watch me." He slammed his palm down on the console, cutting power to the terminal. Sparks burst out, and darkness swallowed the room. For a heartbeat, all that remained was the storm outside, and the sound of two hearts beating through tension and betrayal. "You think truth will fix this world," he said softly, "but it will tear it apart." "Then let it," she whispered. "Maybe it's time it burns." Lightning flashed, her face illuminated for a split second, fierce and wet with, Malik's voice cracked. "I built this movement to save people, Serena." "No," she said. "You built it to be remembered." That hit him harder than a bullet. A drone buzzed outside the shattered window, its red sensor light cutting through the rain. The hum grew louder. "Soldiers closing in." Serena turned to him. "They're coming for both of us." Malik nodded. "Then we end it here." She took a deep breath. "There's still one uplink left." Malik frowned. "It's dead." "Not if I reroute it through your neural band," she said. "That would kill me. You're already dead, remember?" Their eyes met. A lifetime of betrayal, love, and shared blood in that single look. He smiled faintly. "You always were the better soldier." She hesitated. "I never wanted to be." They moved together, one last mission, like the ghosts they had become. Serena connected the uplink through Malik's implant, sparks bursting across the circuit. The lights flared once, then the signal surged skyward, unstoppable, pure. "It's uploading," Serena gasped. Malik fell to one knee, coughing blood. "Then let the world see." "Hold on, Malik." "No," he murmured, smiling weakly. "I told you once. Truth always outlives its keepers." And then he went still. The drones burst in seconds later, guns raised. But Serena didn't run. She looked at the screen. The upload complete, 100%. She whispered, "Goodbye, Commander." She raised her hands and let the soldiers take her. 6 months later, in a quiet cafe in Istanbul, a young journalist sat with headphones on, listening to a forbidden recording that had spread across the underground web. It was Malik's voice. They called it control. We called it protection. But the truth, it needed no chains. The journalist wiped her eyes. She didn't know the faces behind the message, only that it had changed the world. Outside, the cafe TV played breaking news. Global Oversight Council passes the Freedom of Data Act, the Malik Veil Protocol, and in the crowd outside, a woman in a plain coat paused to watch, her hair shorter now, her eyes older. Serena Vale smiled faintly, then disappeared into the flow of people. In the end, power doesn't fall by force. It crumbles in silence, the moment truth refuses to kneel. One woman lit the match, one man carried the flame, and somewhere, between love and defiance, the world finally opened its eyes.